My name is Hayden Cornfloss, and I'm an in-house video producer for an 8-figure national brand here in the USA. And these are the 10 things that, if done correctly, will pretty much all but guarantee you a position that you've applied for as a video producer for a company. Number 1, understand the brand and the company before you enter the interview. This is one of the most important things you need to keep in mind whenever you enter an interview with a company that you want to work for, because if you don't truly understand their brand, their mission, what their ads look like in the past, what their ads look like now, what their social media content looks like, the stuff that you're going to be creating for them, you're not going to understand the standard that you're going to be held to. You're not going to understand what exactly you're going to be doing, because if you don't really understand how this brand comes across in a public facing way, it's going to come across in your interview. They're going to look at you and they're going to hear the language that you're saying, and they're going to think you're a silly goose, frankly. They're going to think you don't know what you're talking about. They're going to think you're not well researched. They're going to think you don't really care about getting this job in the first place. And they're going to think you're somebody that is not thorough enough to even prepare for the interview, which, if you don't know about the brand, you technically haven't prepared for the interview. So they would be right in that. But if you have prepared, they're going to see that you already have a good understanding of what the public face of the brand is. And if you have a foundational understanding of that, the language that you use is naturally going to be language that they're going to hear and think, oh, well, this individual is not even working for us yet, and he already has a kind of a comprehensive overview of what our brand looks like and what our goals are, and he's clearly done his research. He seems thorough. Even if you don't have a super deep understanding of the company yet, which you can only have a very shallow view of what the company is and does from the outside looking in. But if you can portray that confidence and that thoroughness in that process and use language that you know they already use and have an understanding of the visual style and everything and use that in conversation, they're going to think you're pretty impressive, and this will give you a really good chance to get the position. Number 2, have a well put together portfolio that's easy to access. A strong portfolio is composed of many different things. Good work, that's kind of the foundation of even you being able to apply confidently. And if they see your work and immediately be like, oh, the quality is not there, you're not even going to get a chance. So you have to have quality work in your portfolio. You have to build your portfolio over time. You can do this in many different ways. You can look at what they produce and try to replicate it in terms of the quality and the visual style. That will kind of give you a leg up. So they'll see those pieces of work in your portfolio and they'll say, oh, this person already has a good idea of what we create, and it's clear that they have a similar style to what we create. So that will automatically give you a leg up. But the most important part of your portfolio after quality work is ease of access. You want your portfolio to be laid out in a way where it's an easy link you send with your resume, and they're able to click that link and go to this nice landing page where everything's organized and everything's presented in a way that's very easy to watch, not clunky. You don't want them to have to click through multiple different things to see what they want. It needs to be easy to access, and it needs to be easy to navigate. This will show, again, that you're a very thorough individual and that you have taken the time to present yourself in a professional way. So they're going to see that and like, oh, if they take this process seriously, I know they're going to take the process seriously whenever they actually get hired on. So that allows them to see what you would kind of work like in your position if you are to get hired. Number 3, tailor your portfolio to the job. This is something I've already kind of touched on a little bit in the previous point, but this is extraordinarily important because for you to, let's say you're applying for a cosmetics video producer role, and you have only worked in real estate, and you come and you send them this link that has a portfolio of a bunch of walkthroughs for real estate investors or agents or anything like that. Even though your portfolio is full of quality work, and it's quality work, it's very good. Technically, it's excellent. The majority of the time, you're not going to be applying for a position, and the people on the other end who are reading your resume and looking at your portfolio, they're usually not creative people who, create things with their, digitally, like video and graphic design. Usually that's the case, I feel like. So whenever somebody is looking at your portfolio, they need to be able to envision what you can create for them. So if you're applying for a cosmetics brand, you need to have spec pieces, spec ads. These are ads that you create for fake companies. They don't even have to be fake companies. They can be cosmetic brands, but it's on your dollar. You create these. Nobody's hired you to create these. So you create these these spec projects that work towards showing the people that position that you're applying for, the people that are reviewing your resume, pieces that you would create actually in that role. So you would make commercials about cosmetic items of some kind. You tailoring your portfolio like this or your reel like this will allow the people on the other side who are receiving your resume and reviewing your portfolio to envision you in the role and see what you can create in that role specifically. This will allow them to see what you can do with a more specific approach to creating videos with their product kind of already in mind. Number 4, be personable but professional. An interview is an interview. It's nothing more, it's nothing less. It's not therapy time. It's not time to share 1,000 personal stories. It's not time to talk about your last relationship. It's not time to talk about anything that's out of this realm other than things that might be relevant to pushing you further along in the interview process. So there were multiple times in my interview process with my position that I shared personal anecdotes or personal stories that kind of pushed me further along down the direction of helping the person that I was talking to understand that this story that I'm telling helps prove a point that will make me look better in a professional light. So the golden rule whenever you're going through this interview process is make sure you can tell personal stories. That's fine, but make sure they are relevant to what you are doing in the interview. Make sure they're relevant and they're pushing you further on down the line towards this vision of this person that you're talking to, seeing this vision of you being a professional person, a well-rounded individual, a person with experience that will allow you to excel in the position that you're applying for. Again, this is not time to talk about personal stories for minutes on end and waste time, because ultimately you are there to share more about yourself, yes, with the goal in mind of what you're sharing is going to push you further down the line in the interview process and ultimately help you get the position. So the goal is to help the person you're sitting across from understand that you are the correct person for the position, and you can share personal stories, but at the same time they need to be within the context of helping you look better for the position that you're applying for. Number 5, dress to impress. So this is something super simple that I think is lost on people, especially my age and younger. We have lost a sense of decorum. We have lost a sense of, oh, I'm going to an interview, or I'm going to a professional event. Oh, I'm going to church. I can dress however I want because I can express myself however I want. Listen, that's fine, but you know who doesn't care about personal expression? The person that you're sitting across from that actually cares just about the money that you're going to help them make. You are sitting in an interview for one reason. The person across from you, some C-suite executive, is only having this meeting with you so that they can better understand how you can make them money. That's literally the only reason. That's all they care about. And that's okay, because that's their position. For them to excel at their role, they have to find somebody who they know is professional enough and experienced enough to make the company money. That's it. It's really that simple. So showing up in a way that is very, very professional. There is a societal standard with people who operate in the corporate world that a button-down shirt, well-groomed hair, well-groomed facial hair, or no facial hair, whichever your flavor is, always approach it with the mindset of, what is this executive that I'm going to be sitting across from expecting from me? How are they expecting me to dress? What are they going to be impressed with? It's not my standard. It's not. Nobody cares what you think professionalism is. They only care what they think professionalism is. And that's what they're going to judge you by. Now, whether that's okay or not, it doesn't matter. You want this position, so you have to play the game, and you have to wear a freaking button-down t-shirt, a button-down long sleeve shirt, some nice pants, some nice shoes. I remember whenever I showed up for my interview, I was wearing some nice dress boots. I was wearing, I think, black pants or gray pants. I had a belt on. I had a black long sleeve, nice looking black button down shirt, and I had my hair all slicked back. At this point, I had long hair. I probably would have had better odds of getting the position if I had shorter hair. My hair was up in a bun. Let's just be real and honest. People see people with long hair, and generally speaking, executives and people who are, 45 and older, they see people with long hair, and they're like, men with long hair specifically, and they're like, they're a little weird. They might be a liability whenever they're in a position. I'd rather hire the next guy who has a clean cut haircut. Whether that's okay or not, that is that is the stereotype, and that is how you're going to be seen, no matter what your thought process is on it. But if you do have long hair, make sure it's well kept. Make sure it's well kept and it's put back. It's not getting in the way. You're not messing with it the whole interview. Make sure you present yourself in a way that is going to set you apart from everybody else that applies for the position. Button-down shirt, slacks, dress shoes, well-groomed. It's It's really, really simple. Just look up images, Google images of business casual people and just copy them. Number 6, for the love of God, have a good handshake. I don't know where people have lost this, have gotten this idea where a handshake doesn't matter, or they just don't even think about it at all. Maybe it's just because I had good parents. Maybe that's it. But I'm telling you what, man, I shake the hands of a lot of people, and some of the worst handshakes that I've ever had are people under my age. I'm 28. People lower than the age of 28. They reach out their hand and they shake my hand, and it's like, whenever I try to shake their hands like this, it's like a fish. It's horrible. And if you shake the hand of an executive like that, or somebody in a position of leadership at a company, they are going to think you are an absolute pushover, whether it's true or not. I mean, I would argue if you don't have a good handshake, you are a little bit of a pushover. And if you have a bad handshake, and I realize that, I'm automatically going to assume that you don't have other things in your life together. If you can't get something so simple correct as a handshake, you are not going to be seen as an authority figure of any kind. You can kiss your sorry rear end goodbye. If you don't have a good handshake and you shake the hands of an executive, you are not getting the position. You are not getting the job. Sorry, just it's not happening. People who are in positions of leadership in companies value things like this so much because it shows a very foundational standard that somebody would have, that, okay, they might not excel at XYZ up here, but the foundation down here, we can build off this. But if somebody doesn't have a good handshake, or they don't say things as simple as like, yes, ma'am, or yes, sir, or have articulate or speak articulately, these are things that are just going to get you laughed out of the room in a silent way. You're not going to get laughed at out loud, but in their heads, they're just, once that bad handshake happens, they're going to look at you, and they're not going to take you seriously through the rest of the interview. You might not notice it, but in their mind, they have noted that, and you already lost your chance to have the position. So make sure if you didn't have a dad to teach you, that's fine. If you didn't have a mom to teach you, that's fine. Ask somebody who you know has a good handshake. Hey, can you teach me, please? Didn't have parents to teach me. That's okay. All good. Make sure you get the very foundational things of decorum, like a good handshake, in line before the interview. Please. It's so simple. Just take care of it. One other thing on the decorum side of things, eye contact. Be focused. Don't be distracted by looking at your papers and stuff like that and looking at your laptop. I had my laptop in the interview with me so I could take notes and everything. That's totally fine. And whenever you open your laptop, give the person that you're sitting in front of the courtesy of saying, hey, I got my laptop here. Do you mind if I take notes? And they're up 99%, 100 times out of 100, they're going to be like, absolutely. And they're going to see that as a value add to the conversation. So it's like, wow, this person's very thorough. They're taking notes on their laptop. If you were to pull up your laptop, or my goodness, if you took notes on your phone and you didn't ask, they would just think like, oh, he's just playing on his laptop. Oh, he's just playing on his phone. Make sure you ask before you do those things, just as a common courtesy to this executive that you're sitting in front of. But eye contact. Don't be so distracted by everything that's going on around you. There were multiple times during my interview process where there were big trucks flying by down the street through the window next to where we were having the meeting. And I intentionally just focused on the person that was talking, because subconsciously they're gonna, whether they note it in their brain or not, they're gonna be thinking like, wow, this person is really distractible. How are they going to do in an environment that's very fast paced, that's very high standard? There's gonna be a lot of different things moving around them and high stress. Like, how are they, if they can't focus on a conversation for a position that they want, once they get the position, how do you think they're gonna act in high stress environments where there's distractions all over the place? It's not gonna work out very well. So please make sure you have these foundational things down. Handshake, good handshake, nice firm handshake, not too tight, not too loose. Firm handshake, eye contact, yes ma'am, yes sir. These common notes of decorum when it comes to speaking with somebody who is in leadership at a company. This will help put you above and beyond all of the other candidates in the interview process. Number 7, ask the person what success looks like in the role that you're applying for. This is something that not everybody considers. For you to actually speak in a way that shows the person sitting across from you that you know what you're talking about and you know what you're going to do to be successful in the role, you have to actually understand what those things are in the first place. So a question that you should absolutely ask to understand what success looks like in your position, so that you can talk about how you're going to be successful in the position, because you will be asked that, is you just have to ask. It's something as simple as, we've talked for X amount of time, this has been great. What does success look like in this role for me? And just be clear and honest with me. They will appreciate that so much, because how can they understand that you're going to be successful if you don't even know know what success looks like in the role. It seems simple saying it right now, but people miss this because this really can't be emphasized enough. This is one of the things that I believe set me apart in my interview process, is I was adamant about making sure I understood what the expectations were of me and what success actually looked like. So please keep this in mind in your interview process when you go into this interview, and be sure to go out of your way to ask those questions. Number 8, be confident, not arrogant, and also be coachable. So there is a difference between arrogance and confidence. There's a fine line in here somewhere. You have to have a really good self-awareness of what you can do and what your limitations are. You can't go into an interview and not be self-aware enough to know that if you have a really, really strong portfolio, you have to be self-aware enough to know that you do have a strong portfolio. You have to be aware enough to know that and speak in a way that communicates that I am confident in my work, without going too far down the line to arrogance, which is not really having an understanding of what you can do. And you're on the other side of the spectrum where you don't really know where I think the key part is knowing where your quality of work stands in the spectrum of all the way TV, like Super Bowl commercial, Nike commercial, all the way down to rinky dink, podunk, little wedding film, and it's all blurry and everything, terrible quality. Amazing, world-class quality, terrible quality. You have to know where you fall in this spectrum of things. You have to understand where you fall in the spectrum, because if you don't have a good understanding of where you fall in the spectrum, you can't speak accurately to what the perception of your work is. The one thing that you can do to really, really help you gain an understanding of this is look at your past experiences, assess them, and assess what people have said about your work that may or may not have known that you were hearing what they were saying, or they were giving direct compliments, or they were giving direct criticism. Assess your experiences, find out exactly where you are on that spectrum, and that will help you speak in a way that is accurate to where your skill and experience level is when you apply for a position like this. So you can know how to speak accurately to your experiences and represent yourself in a way that is accurate to the person that's sitting across from you, so they don't think that you're arrogant. They think you're confident in your work, and that you should be confident in your work because how you're representing yourself is accurate. Number 9, talk about what you've recently been learning. So this is something that's super, super important, especially in this AI age of technology. With AI specifically, talk about how you're integrating AI systems into your editing workflow. Talk about how you're integrating AI systems into your color grading workflow. If you're learning a new skill, talk about it. Share the progression that you're making. Share the journey a little bit with them so they can understand that you are a constantly progressing individual, and that whenever you get in this position, you won't just sit there and just keep on doing the same things that you've been doing. Show them that you're willing to progress. Show them that you're willing to learn continuously. This is something that has been extraordinarily valuable for my boss whenever he came in within the last, 6 to 8 months. There has been a constant thread of him bringing up, I am just so happy that you are willing to learn and continue learning and to continue getting better. And as a result, something else, a side effect of you continually learning, if the position that you're in or that you're applying for, let's say you get the position, and then 5-10 years down the line, you decide you want to make a leap to another position, another job, a better job offering. If you continuously learn, and you take that as a very, very serious thing, where you start in this position versus where you end in this position, your work will be 100 times better than when you started, and you will eventually build a portfolio through the continuous improvement that you have taken pride in so much that it will give you a launch pad to go from this position that you're applying for right now 10 years down the line to launch your way into a position that you never even dreamed that you would have a chance of attaining, all because you continuously learned, and you were able to get this position because you showed the ambition to continuously learn, and you talked about exactly what you were learning or a new skill you were learning when you were applying for the job. This is super important. Employers really, really want to know that you're not just going to sit at a desk and just be a cog in the wheel. They want to know that you're going to progress. They want to know that you're going to continuously learn and try to get better. This is something that's super important and that you should absolutely talk about in the interview process. Number 10, send a follow-up email. This is something that I didn't do. I wish that I would have, because I think it would have allowed me to come across in a way to the person that I interviewed with as a more qualified candidate. I still ended up getting the position, but I still wish that I would have done this. This is something that you can do to convey your level of interest and convey your thoughtfulness in a way that is very, very personal to the person who you were in the interview with. Sending them an email or sending them a message on a job board like LinkedIn, Indeed, whatever, just shows that you are are thorough enough to understand the nuances and the ins and outs of social interaction to a point where you've done this thoughtful thing, and now they see you in a different light where, oh, wow, you really, really stood out. Whether or not they can put their finger on what made you stand out, it's probably the sum total of all of the small things that you've done, including the message that you sent or the email that you sent. So this is kind of a cherry on top. If you know you just absolutely killed the interview and you're just like, man, okay, I did XYZ, it was all great, the conversation was really flowing and they seemed to really like me. You know what? Let me just send a message real quick. Hey, thanks so much for the opportunity for the interview today. I had a great time. XYZ. I'm looking forward to hearing back from you about the position soon. Or I'm looking forward to getting the opportunity to work with you. Something like that. It's just one of those things that, it's kind of lost on my generation and younger, like thank you cards and thank you letters and stuff like that. Whenever we think these things don't matter. They do matter. And especially if you're applying for a position, your odds are you're going to be sitting across the table from somebody who is from the old guard and they are, 45 or older. So they see a lot of value in these things. So whenever they see that you do that, they're going to be like, man, this guy's thorough and he's personable, very, very professional. I'm going to put him in front of the line. That's just how things work. Okay, I'm done. Like I said, my name is Hayden Cornfloss, and I'm an in-house video producer for an 8-figure national brand here in the USA. And this channel exists to teach you how to do exactly what I do, which is create a career in the video production world. If that's something you are about, if that's something you're willing to pour yourself into, and if that's something you want to spend your life doing, is creating a career that you can help build a life for maybe your family that you want to support, your wife and your kids, or your husband and your kids, if you're a female. Hit that subscribe button. And yeah, thank you for your time, and I will see you in the next one.